we are testing the mic. Charlotte has officially been a gym member for 4 months and still looks like the size of a hippopotamus. And we are rolling. What a day it has been. It is currently the end of the day. Well, I say end of the day, it's 4 p.m. So I popped out early this afternoon to go and get Bossy some more feed. Got some more Bailey's Performance Balancer and Meadow Cobs, and also stocked up on some Hunterwood shavings. And now I'm going to be filming this weekend's vlog. Now, this vlog is one that I'm probably going to make myself look like a bit of a fool. You can probably tell by the title, it's going to be about Bossy's transition to going bitless and barefoot, of which we are so brand new to both things. It's one of those where I'm not fully educated, or I'm not fully clued up on both topics as of yet. So I may say some things that may be incorrect, and I may say some things that are, yes, correct. So please don't take everything that I'm saying Bible. But I thought it was really interesting to document this journey with Bossy, because they are two huge transitions. And to be completely honest with you, if it wasn't for this period of rehabbing Bossy, I don't think I would ever decide or make the leap of faith to try bitless or to try barefoot. So let's take it back to the very beginning. So the whole bitless idea genuinely stemmed from one day I was tacking Bossy up and we were going for our usual 30-minute hack, walking on tarmac as part of his rehab routine. And I thought to myself, why on earth am I putting this bit of metal in my horse's mouth when all we are doing is going for a stroll around the roads? And I thought, oh, I'm pretty sure bitless is now a cool thing. I'm sure I've seen so many people go bitless and they've had strong horses and they've tried it and it's really worked well for them. So had a look online, had a look at some bitless bridles. I wasn't fully committed in the sense that I wanted to spend a whole load of money on this. But when I saw a bitless bridle with the side pull effect, because I didn't even know this, but bitless bridles have like different pressure points, so you can either have a side pull, there's obviously hackamores, there's so many different variants of bitless bridles, and again, I'm not fully educated on this, so I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But anyway, Bossy has the side pull effect, so essentially he has two little rings on his noseband where the pressure points will be going on the nose and the pole instead of his mouth in a bit. So I found this bridle online for literally 50 quid, and I thought, you know, I'm going to give it a go. Why not? What have I got to lose? I'm not rushing Bossy's rehab. For those of you who are tuning in and you're new, basically 5 months ago, Bossy went in for a full lameness workup. It was completely out of the blue that he had these scans done at the lameness workup, and it came back that he had a tear in his left fore and his hind suspensory. The day before he went in for the scans, we completed our first ever elementary and we won our class. There were no signs that he was lame. He did a cracking test. So this news came out of the blue, and had it had not been for my usual 2 times a year checkup that I get with Bossy, where I have 2 lameness workups done every year to make sure that we're on par, we're on track to keeping a happy, healthy Bossy, we probably would still be competing today, to be completely honest with you. I'm so glad I did it, because had I not had got him checked and I continued to ride him and continued to push him at BD level, he could have completely broken and I would potentially not even have a horse at all. So I'm glad I did it. And essentially I've heard, since posting the situation online, I've heard and I've had a lot of you people sharing your similar stories, and you've basically said between 1 year and 2 years expect the suspensory to for your horse to come back right, essentially. And what's really interesting is, after using multiple therapies, including shockwave therapy on the suspensory, we did laser, we did a few, I think we did 12 red light class 4 laser sessions on his left and also his hand suspensory, and we've been doing back-to-back Indiba ever since. We re-scanned him at 13 weeks, and I'm not even joking, the vet's exact words were, I can't even see a tear here when they re-scanned his left fore. But I'm still getting Indiba done there because I don't know, like I don't want to stop the Indiba sessions. So many of you have said Indiba is life-changing, and for Vossi so far it has been incredible. So he's still getting Indiba every 2 weeks, and I feel like I'm going off track here. I'm forgetting where I'm going with this. Anyway, this all came out of the blue, and essentially, although it's amazing news that's where I was going with it. Although it's amazing news that Vossi's left fore has healed, and from the vet's point of view, having seen videos of him trotting up and on the lunge, they've said he looks absolutely fantastic. I still want to take things slowly because I am in no rush whatsoever to bring him back. You're probably thinking, Charlotte, why are you in no rush? Because when we checked in with you 13 weeks ago and you were crying your eyes out, you seemed pretty devastated that you were out of the game of British dressage and you were not going to be able to train, you weren't going to have a horse to ride at the level that you usually do. What's happened? Honestly, guys, I think what has happened is I have fully accepted the situation, and it's not just a case of saying, yeah, this is it, cool, get on with it. My body, my mind has fully accepted the situation, and I am actually really content by not riding every single day. I'm really content just being that horse girl that comes up the stables every day, mucks out, grooms her horse, sees her horse happy grazing out in the field. Happy as Larry is Vossi, may I say. He is just so mellow, he's so happy, he's just so content with this no work life. And it just made me think, you know, he's 12 years old. I just believe if horses are bred for a purpose, i.e. to be a top class dressage horse or a top class show jumper, which Vossi was actually bred to be a top class show jumper. He's from big star bloodlines, Olympic gold medalist. You know, these horses are pushed at a young age to see their potential so that, you know, the owner can get as much money for them as possible. In doing that, I genuinely don't believe these well-bred horses get more than a couple of months off a year at a push. I would be surprised if many horses out there get at least a couple of months of fully being turned away in a field to be a horse. And it made me think, is this such a bad thing that Vossi gets a year to be a horse? He gets a year to restore himself in terms of his natural state, his natural being of an animal. I think because I was so tied in to a routine of training once a week, aiming towards these championships, aiming for higher scores every time, that I was consistently chasing these goals, and I would not feel fulfilled unless these goals had been met. And having those goals stripped away from me has actually forced me to take a step back from training, take a step back from goals, and realign my goals and purposes with Vossi. And in doing that, that is how I've reached the decision to try BITLESS, because if I'm rehabbing him very slowly and I'm only taking him out for a light hack for 30 to 40 minutes, why do I need a bit in his mouth when I could try BITLESS? So that's one side of it. So before we go on to the barefoot side of it, let's talk about how these few weeks of BITLESS riding has been going, because I've been sharing a couple of bits on Instagram, but not so much on YouTube. It's been interesting. I'd be lying if I said it's absolutely incredible. It's definitely made me as a rider realise when I need to put my leg on. So when a horse has a bit in its mouth, sometimes you don't necessarily recognise as clearly whether you're riding properly from leg to mouth. Is that the correct saying? Leg to mouth? You know what I'm getting at. And sometimes this line gets a bit distorted about whether or not I'm forcing Vossi into a contact or whether or not he's naturally going into a contact from what I'm asking off my legs. Going BITLESS has changed that blurry line. I know when I need to put my leg on, because he will just completely back off. You'll feel it in the movement, you'll feel it in the strides. And it's made me realise how behind my leg Bossy is. And I always find it interesting when different dressage riders would ride him and be like, he's just not off my leg. And they'd spend like the first 15 minutes getting him off their leg. And it's something I could just never do. Whereas what I'm finding really interesting with BITLESS, bear in mind, I'm only walking and doing a tiny, tiny bit of trot, if that. It's really opened my eyes about riding correctly and actually getting Bossy to work correctly over his back, push from behind and work over his back, as opposed to just sort of having him in a forced outline because a bit is forcing him to do that. And I know that differentiates a good rider from a bad rider, but look, I'm not a professional. Okay, I ride one horse. I've ridden one horse for the past 5 years. I'm quite content with it being that way. But you know, the best riders are riders that are riding 6, 7, 10 horses a day, so they get the feel of how different horses respond off their aids. So anyway, the barefoot stuff has been good. The BITLESS stuff has been going great. Now, moving on to the barefoot side of things. So you're probably thinking, Charlotte, where on earth did this barefoot situation come from, right? So let me take it all the way back to where it began. So part of Bossy's rehabilitation has obviously been, well, it's all been down to the fact that he had a tear in his left foot and a tear in his suspensory. And, you know, having a little read online and speaking to a few different people, there are studies that show that taking your horse's shoes off allows your horse's feet to basically restore to a natural state. What I mean by a natural state, insert, Charlotte's not a professional here, I may say something incorrect, so don't take my word for Bible. It means that the horse's frog and heels spread out more to provide more support and shock absorption for the horse's legs and ligaments. And when I found that out, I also then thought to myself, oh my goodness, I don't think Bossy's been barefoot since he was like a baby. You know, he's been shod his whole life. Like, surely being shod your whole life, the horse's feet are just like conformed to the shoe shape, not their natural shape. So I've been umming and ahhing going barefoot for quite a long time. I actually wanted to try barefoot the second we were going to rehab Bossy. However, after speaking to my farrier, he did say, I think you'd have, just because he's not used to it, and you know, this was back 5 months ago when summer was summering. The ground was rock solid. It was like the Sahara Desert out there. The ground was concrete in the fields. He said it wouldn't be good for Bossy because his feet wouldn't cope with the hard ground, essentially. Hold up, I know you're probably thinking just whack some boots on him. I was also in agreement with the farrier that I think the hard ground going out in the field would just make him too footy and too footsore. So the farrier basically suggested, let's wait until autumn. Let's wait until the ground's a bit softer, there's a bit more give, so that he's more comfortable, essentially. And the time has come. Thankfully, the heavens have opened and we have had some great amount of rain here, especially in the southeast where I'm based in the UK. The ground's softer, the grass is growing, woohoo. And as of like literally 4 days ago, his shoes have been off. And now we wait. Now we wait and we give the hooves the time they need to naturally restore to their natural state. And it's really interesting because I didn't know this, but polo ponies in particular, during polo season, they'll be shod. And then when polo season isn't happening, they'll literally have their shoes off and they're chucked out in a field all winter, which enables their body to return back to their natural state. We do not do that. Certainly, I have never done that as a horse owner. I've competed all summer season, I've competed all winter season, and now I say that out loud, I'm like, when did you actually give your horse 6, 7, 8, 9 months off? Never. I don't think I've ever done it with any of my horses. It's been like a real eye-opener for me, this situation. And I almost feel tad guilty that I've never done it before, but I can just see how much happier Bossy is. And we're 5 months in now, and he's a happy boy. He is a happy boy. He's out in the field grazing every day. He comes in, he's a happy boy. He's got his hunterwood shavings down, which are really supporting his feet. Because you have this transition to barefoot is really gradual. You've got to do it really gradually, really slowly. And I did not realise how much info there is out there with regards to barefoot. I mean, it's wild, it's mind-blowing. So one of the first things that some of you barefooters out there suggested to me was that I had a little look into the equine podiatry community. But there's a site, a website, and essentially all of the equine podiatrist specialists in the UK are located and dotted around the UK, and they specialise in making sure that your horse's hooves are perfectly balanced. And they come out, they analyse your horse, they see how they move on the walk and trot up, and adjust your horse's hooves accordingly to ensure that your horse is really balanced and their bones and ligaments are supported as best as possible. Now, I've really struggled. Honestly, where I live, so close to London, you would think I would have endless amounts of farriers, vets, dentists around. It's so limited. I've got 2 podiatrists around, and one of them hasn't responded. I don't even know if they even work as an equine podiatrist anymore. And the other said they're too far out from me, based in Essex. So I was absolutely gutted. But I've been having a real, these past few days, again, I'm not completely knowledgeable up on this yet, but I've had a real eye-opening experience to the fact that, barefoot is a lifestyle. It's something you have to really get yourself clued up on. It's not just a case of whacking the horse's shoes off and just leaving them. You've got to consider their diet, you've got to consider supplements, you've got to consider potentially the horse is going to get thrushed, making sure you keep on top of that. The way you pick the horse's hoof out, you have to be really careful of the white line around the horse's hoof. Potentially looking to getting hoof boots to support your horse's hoof. There's just so many things. I'm very fortunate that I am supported by Bailey's Horse Feeds, because Vossi's naturally already on a really high fibre, low starch, low sugar diet. And I'm also very lucky because he's on his Bailey's Performance Balancer and Bailey's Medicobs, as you guys know. But I'm also supported by Feedmark. And Feedmark do this epic supplement called the Barefoot Formula. Let me read out to you for anyone else that's out there that's looking for a barefoot supplement to help support their horse's hooves. So it's ideal for horses following a natural barefoot feeding regime, as it contains 100% natural ingredients. These include rose hips for their beneficial antioxidizing and soothing properties, micronized linseed, a rich source of omega-3 acids, which are essential for maintaining healthy hoof tissue, brewer's yeast, a natural source of amino acids, and B vitamins, including biotin, to promote quality hoof growth. Seaweed is also added as a source of bioavailable minerals, which are essential for hoof horn health and growth. So I'm giving him a go on that. With all supplements, I usually say give it between 6 to 8 weeks to notice the difference. So he's currently, as I said, about 4 days into using that supplement. But from like a feeding and diet perspective, I'm really happy with that. The only thing I am worried about is, because he's never been barefoot before, taking him out of the field onto the hard ground. Now, I'm so lucky with all the rain we've had, because the ground has got some give in it. So I can walk him around the fields and he's really happy. He walks like normal out in the fields, but I've noticed he's a little bit footy on the concrete outside his stable, which is fine because he only has about 4 or 5 strides on that before he gets in the stable. So I have actually teamed up with the Hoof Boot Shop, and they have very kindly provided me with the limited edition Cavallo Trek hoof boot. And I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about these boots. A lot of people have said that they're not great because they fall off during hacks or whatever, but a lot of you have said they have been incredible from the transition from going directly from shoes to boots. So I thought I'd give them a go, and the hoof boot shop actually recommended these ones for Vossi. I mean, from what I can see, they're absolutely amazing. They've got fantastic hoof support and shock absorption within them. They Velcro up at the front here, so they've got the Velcro strap here and then a big bit of Velcro here. But also, I've been very kindly sent these pads. So these are the hoof boot shop's own pads. And what you do is, you can kind of see there's a bit of thickness to them. What you do is you put each hoof on each pad, cut around the shape of the hoof, and then you insert it in the boot. And this is just going to provide additional comfort and support for Vossi's very tender hooves at the minute. And I have been told to kind of expect this transition with this exact boot to last between 3 to 5 months, and then once the feet are fully established within themselves and they've become stronger and they're balanced and they're ready to go, then you can think about transitioning to another boot. So other boots that have been recommended are the Renegades and the Scoot boots, and I'm really interested to try them as well. This is the thing, like with hoof boots, it's a process. Some boots work for some horses, some don't work for others. And there are actually representatives that can come to your yard and fit a variety of different boots for you. I haven't got that option. I think, again, where I'm located, there's like no reps by me. It's such a shame. But I've been given a really good guide on how to do the process properly. When you buy the boots, you get sort of a breakdown on how to use the boots, how to prep the boots for the horse. I've also been told when you break them in, they can sometimes rub, so to put like a normal human sock over your horse's foot to help prevent the rubbing. So I'm open-minded about this because I've heard such mixed reviews about it, but I thought I'm going to give it a go because, you know, I'd love to be able, so early in the process, to be able to take Vossi out for a 30-minute hack and him be comfortable whilst doing it, as opposed to just, you know, I don't want him to be footsore and footed. It's a horrible thing to see, but the reality is, you know, a horse like Vossi who's had shoes on for, what, 10 years now? It's a huge change. He can literally feel everything. I mean, I think someone described it to me as the similar feeling a horse has when they go from shoes to barefoot is when you get really sensitive cuticles on your nails. So you know, sometimes when you cut your cuticles back and you feel that bit of pain, it's sort of like that for a horse. So I want to keep him as comfortable and happy as possible. I've considered his diet, I've considered his supplements, I've considered the hoof boot type, and I've gone to a professional for their advice. And I've given him extra bedding, so when he's standing in his stable, it's soft. I've transitioned during a time where the fields are softer, so when he's out, he's not standing on hard ground, it's got some give to it. So I really have tried from that side of things. But yeah, I'm going to continue to do my research because I have heard that there are potentially quite a few issues that come with a horse being barefoot. If their hooves aren't strong enough, they can crack, and they can also, if a horse stands on stones, they're liable to abscesses. But if you keep on top of things like this, you should be okay. There's a whole world of things that I'm being brought to light to about. I mean, it's funny because my mum's pony's barefoot, but I don't know if it's a generation thing, but the transition from my mum's pony Aussie just seemed so smooth. Like, he's got the hardest, strongest, best feet ever. He did that without hoof boots, he did that without supplements, he just did it and he's absolutely smashed it. But Vossi's a sensitive soul, so I'm doing everything by textbook. So yeah, it's early days, as I said, in a few days. So that's pretty much the lowdown. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to bring Vossi in from the field, and I thought we could measure up his hoof boot together and see how he reacts to having some hoof boots on for the first time. So let's go. Crouch down. What do I look like? So before we get the horses in, I'm just soaking Vossi's dinner. With the meadow cobs, you have to soak between 20 to 30 minutes. Obviously the water's quite warm because it's really hot today, so only 20 minutes is required. But when it's winter and it's cold, they usually suggest leave it up to an hour to soak. But he absolutely loves his feed. So we are just coming down to get the horses in from their new paddocks, because we're giving the paddocks which are closest to the house a full rest. So when it comes to winter and it's super rainy and wet, we don't have to walk quite so far. So there's Ozzy, their mum's pony, and there's Mr. Bussy standing in the shade. So here we have my barefoot Bussy. There's loads of flies around him, poor thing, under his belly. Hey! Should we have a closer look at his feet at the minute? So, loads of flies on his legs, go away. Those are his frontsies, and there are his backs. Great, we'll see you're pointing one foot outwards. We're going to have loads of barefoot specialists telling us we've got issues there, haven't we, boss? He wants his banana, guys. Let's give him his banana. Yes, he eats a banana full with the peel on. And he loves it. It's his favourite treat ever. But can we just appreciate, come on, 5 months into rehab, barefoot, he's looking amazing. He really is looking top notch. So yeah, I'm super happy anyway. Right, should we, rambling on, should we give this boot fitting a go? I need to go inside and get some scissors because I need to put his hooves, each hoof on here, and then cut around it. Found some scissors. Should we now pop his feet on the pads? We can cut them out and hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll fit nicely inside the Cavallo boots. I think that's okay. We'll give it a go. I mean, it's bloody typical, isn't it? I think I've lost the instructions on actually how I'm supposed to do this. I'm just winging it right now. Yeah, the instructions nowhere to be seen. I think they're blown away. Okay, I'm going to cut round them and see if they insert in the boots. Fingers crossed. One thing that I just got spooked. One thing that I've started doing and now a bit of as well, is him standing on the balance pads. Not only do they just relieve his feet a bit from the pressure of obviously not having shoes on anymore. What do you keep speaking at? Come here, he's being a bit camera shy. He's like, what is mummy doing? She's embarrassing me. But yeah, it gets him thinking about rebalancing his body, where he's putting his weight, and also I can then see where he's shifting his weight to. And yeah, I think they're great. So I'll leave them on for about 30 seconds to a minute, and yeah, we can get cutting out the hoof shapes now on these pads. Bossy, stand. Right, let's get cutting now. Right. I can't remember which is left and which is right. That is not ideal. I think I remember. Oh, I don't remember. Right, I'm going to have to pop him back on the pads and see which is which. Right, so I've got a boot. I'm going to open it up and hopefully the pad will just slot in. I've got a feeling it's not going to happen, but it's a bit fiddly, this part. Oh, okay. Okay, fine. So it basically just needs a tiny bit off the end. The pad, I don't know if you can actually see this. Oh yeah, you can, perfect. So the pad is cutting off, his hoof shape isn't going all the way to the outside of the boot. So can you see there's like this gap here? I think I'm gonna have to check in with the hoof boot shop and see what that means, or if it doesn't mean anything. But it's, in terms of like the hoof boot size, I think it's perfect. I'm actually really excited to put Bossie's hoof in this. Okay, so after a little bit of adjustments and some cuts made to get the pad inside the boot, it's in. So we've done one of them, so now we've just got to do the other, and then we can put them on his feet and see if they fit. Fingers crossed. Oh my goodness, can we please appreciate, this is Bossie's first ever time having hoof boots on. So, left Bossie's feet for half an hour. Can you see the texture's completely changed? So before the meadow cobs were cubes, once you add water, they fill out, they expand, and they look like this. So that means that it's ready to feed. Just look how excited he is. Do you dinner? Yeah, I think he does when he's dinner. He wants his dinner, so I'm going to give him his dinner now. What a good boy! That is one happy Mr. Voss. He really does chomp that feed down. He loves it. He gets the biggest mouthfuls. Oh, he loves it, bless his heart. Right, I'm going to leave him to munch his dinner now. So I've just taken the boots off Voss and given him his dinner, and just come back into the storage room where I keep his boots, and I'm just literally, as we speak, labelling the box so I know which is left. So this is his left boot, and I think I'm even going to label the boot as well so I know which is which. So what I'm going to do is, you see the little silver reflective thing there? I'm just going to put an L on it so that we know that's the left boot, and then the other one is obviously the right boot. Well, first of all, I am not going to lie, I am so surprised. First of all, excuse the hair. I am so surprised at how simple that process was. Time consuming, yes, but you know, with these things you want to make sure you're doing them correctly. But I was so shocked at how simple it was to draw around the pad and put them inside the boot. I mean, not, you know, it's only for some horses that need the padding for extra support. Sometimes you can literally get away with just the boot. Oh my goodness, I've literally just found the instructions. So yeah, all in all, as I was saying, I'm really surprised at how quick and easy that process was. But also, I am so happy at how happy Vossi was in them. I've heard some horses trip in them. I've heard some horses don't like them. I've heard some horses just don't fit the hoof and they fall off. I mean, bear in mind, I've only done a little bit of light walking and a little bit of light trotting. But that being said, I'm giving it a safe 7 because the 8, 9, 10 are going to be when I practice out hacking, I think, those marks. But honestly, super happy. They, for those of you who want to find out a little bit more, obviously go check out the website. You can check out the Hoof Boot shop, which will give you loads of info, or Cavallo Direct. And it literally says they're easy on, stay on, supple bulb area, reflective back logo for safety, comfy foam lining, fits left or right hoof, regular and slim width, available individually. Pull tab for ease on and off, which, by the way, that's something I forgot to say. I could not believe how easy they slipped on and off. They just popped in and just came off really easily. There was no sort of struggle or there was no sort of loose gap. It's a bit like having a riding hat on your head. You know when you've got a riding hat that fits and there's a bit of suction on there, it's easy to come off and it's easy to come on and go on. That's how it felt putting the boots on Vossi. Pull tab, soft foam collar, breathable and tear-proof, pro mesh material, exclusive to Cavallo, conforms to individual hooves and pasterns, replaceable Velcro closure system. Limited edition. Well, on that note, guys, I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to continue with my bitless and barefoot journey. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. Stay tuned. For any barefoot bitless lovers out there who've been on the journey longer than I have, i.e. longer than a couple of weeks, please let me know in the comments section who you are. Make yourselves known. DM me on Instagram. I'd love to hear sort of what your experiences were, if you've got any tips or tricks. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.